chairman of BuffaloWriter.com. I watch my share of television, and of the TV I do watch, the show I like the best is Antiques Roadshow. Why? Because I'm a writer, and writers thrive on information. That's what you get on Antiques Roadshow. You get all this information, fascinating information, and also it's funny, and also it's dramatic. There is pathos. Like when somebody comes on with some family heirloom, piece of jewelry, painting, furniture, whatever. And now they find out that it's worth $140,000. And they get choked up because now it's more than just a family heirloom. It's a legacy, you know. So they get a little choked up, start to cry. They think about their mother, their grandmother, or a beloved aunt, you know, and it's a wonderful moment. So I got the idea of writing a piece for the website called Myself as an Antique on Antiques Roadshow. And I'm going to read that piece, okay. The year is 2070. The city is San Francisco. The event, the Antiques Roadshow. The object, a copy of the best of BuffaloWriter.com. On camera is the owner of the book, a grandmotherly type, joined by the appraiser, a bow tie type, who speaks with a mild quiver in the voice as he fondles the book. Appraiser, tell us about the book and how it passed into your possession. The owner, the writer was a close friend of my great-grandmother, and in his will he left everything to her and her children. So the book and several boxes of manuscripts and copies of letters passed down through the family and came into my possession when my mother died. The appraiser says, when I was contacted about you, that you were here with this book, and told some of my colleagues, who also work as book antiquarians, they went nuts. They were gibbering like monkeys. And I was gibbering like a monkey. He says, this is the situation. I know something about this writer. I am an authority on his work. I've read all his books and letters, and every word written about him. Outside of a handful of stories, magazine pieces, he was never published during his lifetime. You know how he died, correct? The woman says, some sort of freak accident, I believe. Yes, he was playing golf at the Brookside course in Pasadena and drove the cart off a bridge on the 11th hole into a cement culvert. It was then, following his death, that your great-grandmother decided to get his writings published. She got a publisher interested in the letters. They came out, caused a sensation. Now the books follow, one after the other. Bestsellers. They go through the roof. It happened quite fast, in a flash. One day it was unknown. The next day, a cultural phenomenon. Then it's on with the translations, the biographies, the sale of movie rights, etc., etc. He pauses, says, there was a flavor to the writing, a humor, offbeat, cynical, perverse, that penetrated deeply into the psyche of the country at this time. He was hailed as the new Mark Twain. The woman says, yes, I know something of all this. The appraiser. When Jack was 64, he started a website, www.buffalowriter.com, because that was his hometown. And at some point decided to put a book together, adapted from the site. This is that book, the best of BuffaloWriter.com. was a limited edition of 100 copies, but he never made it to 100 copies. Why? Too much work. He got the 35 copies and threw in the towel. Now the question is, what happened to those 35 copies? Only 14 have turned up. And of all his writings, it is the 35 copies of bestofbuffalowriter.com that are the most sought after by collectors. 5 years ago, a very fine copy turned up in pristine condition. I sold it myself for $14 million. But this copy you have here is a little different. This book has never been read. How do we know? Because the book exists in the original shrink-wrapped packaging. These books were art books. Jack was also a painter. There were 24 colored plates. And to protect the plates from mishandling, he shrink-wrapped the books. That's the story. And now, for the question we always pose to the owner. Would you care to estimate the value of the object? There's a pause. She thinks, says, $25 million. The appraiser. I would say for purposes of insurance, and this is a conservative guess, at least $40 million. No kidding. I could get on the phone right now and solicit an offer for $35 million. I guarantee it. No, my grandmother would object. She was sentimental about Jack. Plus, I don't need the money. The family has made a fortune from Jack's books. Of course. Thank you for coming to the show and bringing this wonderful book. It's too cool. That's the piece. So you don't have to go to the archives to read it because I've just read the entire thing. But go to the archives anyway, okay? Read some other story. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.